Righto guys, we're going to start doing the slideways for this ram guide. So I'll just cut up this plastic sheeting, this high density plastic sheeting for the slideways. I've just used a tennis saw and just basically mark them out and cut them out, left them full so I've got material to machine back. So I've got the two side ones in which are going to be identical, and then we've got the top one and we've got the bottom one. So I'll get these two side ones done first and get them fitted up, then we'll go on with the top and bottom, and then we'll set up for doing the oilways into those units. Alright, we'll just take a light skim off this end here, get it squared up, get it flat, and then we'll flip it over and bring it down to size. Now, I was going to CNC these. Be a great little CNC job for the router, but I don't have the cutters for doing that, and I've done plastic before, and because the router speed, I think the minimum it dropped down is about 5,000 RPM. I ended up melting the plastic onto the cutter, so you know, it would have been nice and quick just to quickly coat and set up and machine it, but yeah, we'll do it this way so we don't end up with melted plastic everywhere. Right, I'll take that out, flip it over, and we'll machine it back to size. Righto, we'll just check those for parallel first. Oh, 28.24. My mirror. 28.24, can't ask for any better than that. Right, 26.51. So I'm going to take righto, done. I'll take these out and we might set the bottom one up next. Get that done. Get the top one done, and I'll come back when we're starting to do the sides. Get them back to length. Right, I've just got a torch on it here, make it a little bit easier to see. I'm just going to lick them off to clean up on this side. We'll flip them around, and then we'll machine them off to nominal length of 112. So I'll try and do them as a gang, and we'll see how that works out. We'll flip them around and clean them back to length, then we'll set them up in the disc sander to put the little radiuses on the corners. Right, I'll start to clean up. So this long one here, the bottom one, has got to be 118. These smaller ones here, 1, 2 and 3, have got to be at 112. So I'll machine these down to 118. I'll take that out and then we'll finish off machining the others to 112. I'll take that one out and we'll reset them up again. Right, I've got all these milled to width, so this one here is a nice sliding fit in place. So I'm happy about that. This one here is the same, it's a nice sliding fit into place as well. The side ones I won't know how they're going to fit up, but I've left around about 0.03, 0.04 millimeters of clearance between the top and this, so it's not going to get sandwiched down. I'll need to get them cut to width to see how they're all going to fit in. But so far, I'm sort of happy with all those fits there. Nice sliding fit. You don't want to be pressing those in because, as I said, they're absolute pains to try and get out. And they do swell a little bit. So, all right, we'll move on. We'll get these back to length, and then I'm just going to set them up in the on the disc grinder, just to take the radiuses out of those, and then same in here as well. Once we've got that done, we'll then set up for doing the oil ways. When we've got the oil ways done, I'm actually going to use the oil holes as a guide just to pip into place here. And they should all be symmetrical, but I'll just use it as a guide, pip it in, and then I'll drill them through. So, all right, I'll get these set up for doing up there. That'll do us. I'll hand fit the remainder of these, but they're an absolute pain to try and file these. They're so slippery, the file just skates over them. But I'll only have a very, very small amount, 0.02, 0.03 to take off. Alright guys, we'll bring you back. We've got these sort of in a place. As I said, I'm going to head off to my sanding disc and I'll put some radiuses on, and we'll see how things are going to fit up in the box section. Alright, just before I go out and radius these off, just wanted to show you the fitment that we've got inside here. So that one there's a nice neat fit. So alright, so he's fixed, he's not going to go anywhere, he's not a sliding one. These ones here are sliding ones, so we don't want them to be a tight. So as you can see, that's a nice, what I call a loose fit. Same on that side. Obviously they're sitting up because of the radiuses. And this bloke here, once again, he's a nice easy fit lengthways, nice easy fit that way. So the idea being is that he's not going to be tight in there, he can move in and out as he needs to. And this one here can also move in and out as he needs to. Alright, well he can stay where he is. I've just got these two and this bloke here to just put the little radiuses on. So I'll just duck out to the sanding disc and I'll just pop those on by hand. Righto, so let's go through some of the fit ups on these. So pop that one out. So this is a nice easy sliding fit into place. I'll try and get that to fit these out. Right, as you can see, so he fits in there quite nicely. This one here is the adjustable one. Once again, he fits in there very nicely. Before we put those in, we've got the base one to go in. Here's an air fit. Here's an air fit. Nice air fit. And the top lid, once again, just an easy running fit, because it has to be adjusted in and out as we take up that slop. So I'm really happy with all those fitments in there. These will tend to grow a little bit. They're just below the surface there. These will tend to grow a little bit, as I said, when you get oil in there. All plastics do. I don't know of a plastic that doesn't grow in a fluid. Even water, they'll take up water and grow. So if we put that on top, that sets that up. And we've got, yep, absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy with that. That's going to work out beautifully. Very nice. Now, I am going to make a change to the lubrication method on this bloke back here. What I was going to do was, as this one was being filled up with fluid, I was going to allow just gravity to run in through. I was going to keep the, I was going to run out the oil grooves on here and here to match up with the oil grooves here and here, and just have it run out under gravity and feed into it. I'm going to change my mind. I'm actually going to do a port up inside here and then pop it out there, and then we'll drill and ream to fit one of the oilers in here, so we can pressure feed oil up onto that in its own. So the oil grooves in here are going to be fully encapsulated by the ram, but at least I'm 100% sure that all slideways are going to be lubricated. Go the other way around, that one's just a tad. Happy with that. Alright, so let's move on, and we'll set up for cutting those oil grooves in there now, and then I'm going to set up to do the internal porting on this slide plate. Remembering I've got to be fairly careful that I keep a bit of an envelope underneath, a little bit of meat, because I may need to take out 1/2 mil or so up the full length, due to the fact that that tool did drop out of the slides and this is actually sitting in slightly further. So I need to make sure that if we do take that out, we're not going to run into that oil gallery. Alright guys, so far so good. Touch wood somewhere there. Alright guys, we'll catch you soon. Just one thing I'll quickly show. This slide has to move in and out to take up any of the slop that we've got. So we need to make sure that that is a clearance fit inside there. And I've allowed around about 0.03 of a millimetre there. I'm only going to need, 0.05 max to get that right. But hence you've got the slop in there to allow that one to move in and out. Alright, be back soon. Right guys, I'm going to set up and start doing these oil grooves into the slideway. So it's basically a run down the middle and then cuts off from the centre. So we'll set up and we'll do that now. Righto, last one to cut the grooves in. Righto, done. Right, I'll just remove all the burrs off here with that razor blade, and we'll set up to pop the holes through for the oilers. Righto, so what I'm going to do with this oil hole is I'm just going to use my battery drill, push it in hard with my fingers and then just drill through. And hopefully it's banging in the oil groove. It's just spot on, I'm really happy with that. Right, it's worked out a treat. Right, this one has to have the little pitot tube in it, so we're going through with our number drill. Once again, we're just going to drill through, and once again, bang on centre. Righto, well that's the last of these blokes done. What I'm going to need to do now is set up, and we're going to do that porting in that slide plate to give... Righto, so the next one we're going to set up for is the drilling and porting into this slide plate. So we're going to be drilling up underneath, inside, drilling through, cross drilling down, reaming 6mm for our little oiler. So that's going to feed into this bottom one here. So I'll get this stripped down and we'll get set up to start doing that porting. I'm going to go through with a down at my local Bunnings store. I've got a long series 4mm drill, so we're going to port it up with that and then do our cross porting. Alright, we'll see you when we've got that set up ready to go. Alright guys, the job we're going to be doing today is to do some porting, some long series drilling up inside the slide plate to allow us to oil onto that back slide. So we're just going to be drilling up inside of the long series 4mm drill and then cross boring into it. That's what she looks like in section there. So drilling up and then cross boring into it. So we're going to do the drilling ream of 6mm to be able to put our little oilers in there, and we're going to drill and tap for an M5 grub screw to go up inside it to plug it off. So that's the job we're up for today. And what I'm doing is just using the slide bolsters as a datum point to get my centre point. So just carry on with that. Now we've got that, I'll just use the digi readout to do half on the x-axis, and that will give us our 0 point. Right, so we've got that dead centre. I'll set up from the back here and we'll come in the 4.5mm. Alright guys, I'll start off with the centre, get that centred out. I'll drop the table down, put a 4mm short series in, go as far as we can with that, and put the long series in, drop the table down, put the long series in. Righto, we've gone about 70mm deep there, which is more than enough. I'd rather go a little bit more than not have enough. Right, I'll set that up and I'll drill through for an M5 tapping drill now, which is around about a 4.2mm drill, so we'll come back for that. Righto, so here's the money shot guys. Let's see how close we are. So I'm 28mm off centre and I've zeroed off that face there to come back to centre. So we'll go in with the centre drill first, then we'll go in with the 3mm. felt that go through almost like it was smack dead centre. So very happy with that. What I'll do is I'll do the 3mm and we'll do the open up for the 6mm and the ream for the button oiler. Alright, we'll get that set up next. And straight into the port. I'm going to change it over for an hour collet. It's got a little bit of wobble on the end and I don't want it to drill oversized. I want them to be a nice little press fit in there. So I'll get that set up now. Right, I'll lightly deburr those and that's all the porting finished. Alright, very happy with that, that's come up really nice. Alright, I think the next thing we'll start making up, we'll be the little M6, I guess you call them pusher pads. They're going to act up against the underside of this, pushing taking up the slop in the ram. So that'll be our next little job. We'll get that set up in the lathe and I'm going to make up a little sleeve jig for that first so we don't damage the collets. So anyway, we'll make a move on that. Right, just to show you how easy these little button oilers are to get in. I've just got a little bit of Darylin, just on a little thread, little cap screw. Right, that's him home. Do the second one, which is the top plate. Remember these were reamed, drilled and reamed with a diameter 6. And once again, he's all home, so that easy to punch him in. And they're a nice press fit in place. So. Alright, let's go through a little bit of what we're trying to do here. So basically I've got an M6 by 16mm grub screw that I drill up at 3.5 inside, and then we fit this pad with a little spigot up inside. So that pad looks like that. So 9.8 to fit inside the 10mm counterbores that we did up inside the bolsters, and a 3.5 or just shy of 3.5mm spigot that will fit up inside that grub screw. So the idea will be is that we'll screw the grub screw in through the bolster and then fit the little pad into that recess on the underside that pushes up against our slideway. So that's our M16 grub screw. Just picked them up from a local fastener shop. So what we're doing is I'm just machining the cup off that. See that it's got a bit of a cup on it. So I'm machining the cup off it and then drill up inside. But what I found when I get up inside the core of this thing, it is hard as nails. Even my cobalt drills won't even touch it. So what I've had to do was go in with a carbide end mill up inside and then finish it out with the cobalt drill. But in between each hole that I drill, I've got to dress that cobalt drill up. It just blunts it straight away. It's shocking stuff to try and work with. Alright, let's go through the procedure with just one of them, and then we'll come back when we're starting to machine the little feet up. Right, we'll try and do this without getting in the way of the camera. It's a bit awkward here. We'll see how we go. I'll stick a little bit more light on there so I can see what I'm doing, because it's a bit hard at the moment. If hopefully that doesn't affect the camera too much. Alright. Right, that's that one done. Actually, we'll just face it off to take off the burr. Right, I'll take that out. I'll show you the little split coil that I've made up to fit this grub screw into. Oops, oh, gosh, hang on. Right, so that's a, if you can see, I just machined that so that it was a neat fit into that grub screw. That's not threaded, by the way, it's just the way that it's picked up. But yeah, just so it's a neat fit, and a diameter 10 on the outside, and I just use a hacksaw just to slid it down the guts, just so it's got a bit of spring in it. So that's roughly how they finish up. So I've got 8 of these to do. I'm actually going to make up a set for the slotter for the Bridgeport mill as well, because I've changed the design on that one. I did it a little bit differently with that slotter. So I'm just going to make up another set of these. I like this design much better. Right, so I've got to make up 16 of these buttons, 8 for the lathe slotter, but I'm doing 8 for the slotter that I set up on the Bridgeport on the quill. So I'll just quickly show you how we knock these up, and they're fairly quick. So I get 3 out of a length at a time, then move it forward. So I've already machined that down to 0.05 under 10 mil, so it fits quite comfortably up inside the so they fit up quite comfortably up inside those counter bores. But these two I'll whack in. She goes. Right, we'll set up and part the left one. That's done. If I can find it, there it is there. Yeah, they're only tiny. And it's pretty hot. Oh. So I'll bring you back when we go and set up in the R32 collet with the 3mm collet inside there to do the facing off to the final length or thickness on those pads. So it probably takes less than 5 minutes each one through that stage. So I'll carry on. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done 5 so far. So another 11 to go. Alright, we'll see you shortly when I'm starting to face these off. Right, just to show you, so I leave a little 10mm land that's left on that after the final button's been made. I just guesstimate how far to come out. That'll do me. Once we're out, then we can pick this bloke up. That's it. Very close to the camera, sorry about that. These collets, or this collet now, is absolutely dead nuts accurate. I'm really happy with this, so I'll take it out and that'll be within a whisker. What I do is just check it in there, and that just fits in there nicely. A little bit of clearance, a little bit of slop, which is what we want. So you can see how easy it is and how accurate these AR42 collets and this D14 adapter is. Now, as you saw when I licked that, it was, you know, 0.01, if that. It was they're very, very accurate. And since I've got this and fixed it so that it is running concentric, you can pop back and have a look at one of my other videos where I did a lot of work to get this right on that D14 taper. I wouldn't be without it. They're absolutely brilliant. Alright, I'll get these finished out and we'll show you when we set up for doing the final facing on them. Alright guys, we've just got to face those little buttons off to length, and all I do beforehand is I do a quick measure as to what they are, because they're a little bit all over the place when you part off. And that one there I've got to take exactly 0.2 off. I'm bringing them back to half a mil thick, 0.5 of a mil. Let's see if we can do this without thumping the camera around too much. Alright. Done. Now I couldn't imagine trying to do this in a 3 jaw. I've got a fairly big 3 jaw on this, a 6-inch 3 jaw. To do these small little tight jobs like this, these AR32 collets are absolutely ideal. And that's him finished off. So another 15 of those to do. So I'll knock them over, and there'll be another job finished. Show you how they look when they're in place. So nice and flush across there. Right, we'll keep going and then we'll move on to the next operation. I'm thinking of using the slitting saw to cut that slot for the gib adjust on that slide plate. So I'm going to strip the housing down. I'll actually leave it mounted in the housing. It's going to be the easiest way to go about it. And we'll set up our slitting saw, and we'll start that operation, and then the drilling and tapping for the M8 grub screws to apply the pressure onto that gib. Alright guys, we'll see you next time around. Alright guys, we'll see how we go with the lighting here. I've got some extra fluorescent lighting around, but my office is mainly set up for looking at the screen, doing design work. Not really for filming at night, but we'll see how we go anyway. So what I wanted to do was do a dry assembly of this. Now, that's the ram that I've got off the slotting head that I made up for the quill of the Bridgeport. And I want to try that in here to see how that's going to fit up. And I want this to be a very neat fit. I don't want to have much slop in this at all. And that is a beautiful fit. Just the tiniest amount of wiggle in that. And I'll put our top on. I'll only just put a couple of screws in this so we'll see how that goes. It does move at the moment, but we shall see what it is like if we get a bit of tension on this, just to make sure that it's not going to nip up and causes a problem. I'll nip them all down. I can't feel any spring back on that. It doesn't appear to be. Hopefully we can move this. Oh yeah, beautiful. That is beautiful. I'm really happy with that. That's a great fit. Now as you can see, I've got my adjusters in here, and I'll put nuts on top of those once they're adjusted so that they don't back off. That's the arrangement that I've got for the top bolster on the slotter for the Bridgeport quill, and I've actually put the new adjusting nuts in there. I can't get that out because that has swollen quite a bit and it's quite jammed in there now. I don't know how the focus will go here, but that's the actual slotter from the Bridgeport. I've got those new adjusters in there, which was great. Actually, I might just go and grab the other adjusters that were in that original one, and I'll show you what the difference is. You can see them very well, but they're the ones I'd made up originally to be adjusted. I did them out of an M6 socket-headed cap screw. I machined the cap down, drilled, and I fitted an M3. It might have been an M4 cap screw. So I machined the cap down to fit up inside the hole that I put in there, and I Loctited that in place. So that became my drive. But I found on two of these the hexes started slipping. So I had to re-Loctite them, and I was a bit worried that they were going to slip again. Hence the reason why I wanted to go ahead and make the change and put that new design in there, because there's no way that it's going to be causing an issue. But I'm absolutely wrapped with that. What I'll do is I'll just whip this apart and show you what those adjusters look like when they're in place. You can sort of see why it's important to pre-measure the plastic that's going to be used in this, because as I said, there was quite a big difference, about 0.2 of a mil difference in the thickness between one sheet I purchased and another sheet. So the way that's worked out, that is as neat as a pin. So I'll take those out. I'll just flip that up and hopefully you can see the adjusters in there. I'll just try and get one of them to come out. There we go. You can see the way they push up there. Yep, so I'm absolutely wrapped with that. And that just puts a little bit of tension on that slide, just in behind it, and you just take up the slot quite nicely. And the one on the top, similar setup. If you can see I'll just pop them out a little bit, they're adjusting. Those little fellas there. So you see them popping out there. So it just applies that little bit of pressure onto that slide just to take up the slop on the ram. Because the last thing we want when we're slotting or shaping is vibration. So we want to minimise the vibration, so I can just put a nice little bit of tension on that ram, take up all that slop and just minimise any issues that we might have with vibration. And it works really well on the slotting head for the Bridgeport. I've got them tensioned up a little bit, but as you can see, it's quite a neat fit in there, but it actually goes that way. But, yeah, really happy with it. If you want to have a look at how this all goes together and what's inside it, what makes it tick, you can go back on one of my previous videos there when I did a strip down of this head. So I basically mimicked the design of this onto the slotting attachment I'm doing for the lathe. Alright, well everything's a shoe-on fit and exactly as it's supposed to be. One thing I haven't done yet, and I will do, and that is I haven't put the pitot tubes in there yet, so I'll need to pop those pitot tubes in there so that they feed through almost up to the underside of the oil grooves in here. With that little bit of brass or copper tube that I've got. So I'm just going to sit that in the lathe now, just with a bit of emery cloth, just take it down a whisker until it's a nice press fit inside, and that'll deliver the oil directly through. As I said, if you push these out, they're not going to be out that far, but you create a gap in the back here, and if I didn't have that pitot tube coming through, all the oil would basically just flood out into the back here, and you know, it would eventually come into here, but it may be coming through the sides, and where you don't want it to come through to, you want it delivered exactly to the face. Where that ram action is happening. Alright guys, well I'll go and fit that pitot tube, and as I said, we'll get on and we'll start doing that slitting for the dovetails for this slide plate. Alright guys, well we'll call it quits for now, and we'll see you soon.